can see with this list here, there are quite a few things that you can do with us here at Montcalm Community College. What we're going to start with, we're going to look at welding. So our faculty instructor, the specialty in welding is with Peter Muir. He's going to talk to you about the program. And you can see from those pictures, there's a lot of different things you can do in welding. So I just pulled up some statistics for us as far as hourly wage. I won't read the whole sheet to you, but you can see there are a lot of annual job openings. We do not have a problem finding work for welders. But also there's different types of welding. You'll hear about that through our programs. And then sometimes people wonder, what is it that welders do? So I like this graphic. It's from Going Pro in Michigan. It's a great website, but it'll show you a little bit of all the different things, all the different things that you can do in our programs. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Peter, and he's going to talk to you about our welding program.
All right. My name is Peter Muir, and I am the welding faculty at Montcalm Community College. So a little bit about me is I started welding back in the year 2000. So I have been hands-on welding out in industry for about the last 18 years. When people come to our program, we teach them every type of welding that there is. So we cover MIG, TIG, shielded metal arc welding, flux core welding. If there's a type of welding that you're interested in, we cover it in our program. What else do we do? Sorry, I'm cutting out a minute.
Robotics.
All right, I'm back. We also have a new welding robot that we just got at the college. So we will be teaching robotic welding in the very near future. So there's all sorts of jobs that you can get. We have people that put up bridges and buildings. And then we also have people welding on aerospace parts for the military and the private sector. So there are all sorts of different type of welding jobs that you'll be ready for when you complete our program. Any questions?
I'm going to ask because it helps me to learn too. You mentioned a couple of different types of welding. Can you briefly tell me the difference between like TIG and MIG and that sort of thing?
So the shielded metal arc welding, which is stick welding, that's the type of welding that if you see a picture of somebody putting up a building or a bridge, that is the type of welding that they're doing right there. MIG welding, it's the welding that looks like you're holding a gun because it's called a MIG gun, and it has the wire that shoots right out of it and it fills in your weld pool. And MIG welding is your most common type of welding that you're going to come across. And then if you see pictures of someone welding for like NASA or in the aerospace industry, that's going to be TIG welding. And that's what you're going to use if you're welding aluminum, or if you're building a roll cage for a race car. Most of the time, that's going to be TIG welded, because TIG welding it requires a lot of skill, but you have the least chance of making a bad weld doing it. So that's why anything critical like a roll cage or aerospace, you're going to be TIG welding.
I have a quick question.
Yep.
What if you don't know how to weld at all?
That's okay, because a lot of people come in and have never touched anything related to welding. And that's all right, because our very first program is our Welding 101, and we cover every process, and we start at ground zero. We assume you know nothing. So it's not a problem. It's nothing nothing to be afraid of. You know, we start with the very basic safety, so you're going to be good and safe. And, you know, when I went into welding, I knew zero about it. I'd seen it, you know, I watched TV and I liked it, but I didn't know anything about it. And, you know, you can become good at it. It's one of those things that you need to get in there and try and get your hands on, and, you know, you can become a very good welder with zero experience.
I have a question. So with all these different types of welding, is there one that's more in demand than others, or could a student just say like, oh, I'm going into welding and be certified in all of them?
I recommend that you become good at all of them, because I've never worked at a job where I've had to do just one type of welding. You know, if you are a production welder, most of the time you're going to be doing MIG welding, and that's the most in demand right now is MIG welding. But you also need to be able to know how to, you know, TIG weld, because in those companies there's always a TIG welder just for making repairs or for something else. So it's really, really valuable for you to know another type of welding. So if it does pop up in the future, you're already know it and you're good at it.
Thank you.
Here's a question I get a lot from students. What kind of student makes a good welder, or what are some of the traits that you see common to welders?
Really, it's you just have to be dedicated and put the time in to practicing. Um, I've had a lot of, you know, very young people come into the program, and they show up every week and they practice and practice, and it makes them, you know, it makes them into a good welder. There's really, I can't say there's anybody that can't be a welder, because as long as you're willing to put the practice into it, you can do it.
Nice, thank you. All right, I'm going to throw one more one out there because I know we have our college advisors here and they may get this question. Some of our schools offer welding at the high school. So if a student has some welding experience already, how does MCC handle that when they want to come to MCC to weld? Do they start at the beginning?
So we do have, because we have many different classes, we do have ways of giving you credit for, you know, past experience. We always look and see, most of our classes have a qualification that if you have passed that qualification in your high school welding class, then we're more than happy to give you credit for that and bump you into the next class. So really, our welding program is qualification based. And if you get those qualifications at your high school, then you are good to go.
Great, thank you.
One question that I always have brought up is, if I already have my certificate with my career tech center, why should I get an associate's degree if I already have a certificate?
The certificate from the Career Tech Center is different than what we offer. We go much more in depth into the processes than at the different career centers. And having a degree from a college it shows that you have a much broader base of knowledge than a certificate just for welding, because it means that you know the machining and the electrical and how to read blueprints. So getting an associate's degree is really valuable, because it's showing that you have a much broader skill set than, you know, just welding.
If I have a student that does not qualify for TIP or the Pell Grant, are there scholarships available for students like that? And if so, what's the GPA requirements?
The main scholarship that I know of is from the American Welding Society. They offer scholarships for people to get into welding. I don't believe they have a GPA requirement. It is much more of a you write them an essay and they evaluate that for a scholarship. As far as scholarships from like the MCC Foundation, I'm sure one of Emily or Amy would be better to answer that than I would.
Thank you.
Are we talking about just scholarships at Montcalm Community College?
Yeah, just at Montcalm Community College. Just because I know that I have some students that are interested in welding, but I don't think they qualify for a TIP, and they haven't filled out their FAFSA, so I don't know what their financial situation is.
Yeah, understandable. It's a great thing to bring up. So absolutely, we have a lot of scholarships for a variety of different things. Definitely, a lot of them are geared towards high school students in our district, new students coming to MCC, and some are program specific as well. So there are a lot of opportunities, and it's one single application to apply to our scholarships, and the application opens on January 1st. So keep an eye out for that. You do one application to apply to all of our scholarships at once, and then the Dean of Students tells me to let everyone know to pay attention to that essay section on the application and really take the time to talk about yourself and the accomplishments, the things you've been involved in, and volunteering and all those things.
Thank you.
All right, if there's no more questions at this time, Amy will kind of introduce a little bit more about a variety of other careers in the skilled trades areas.
All right, thank you. Let's share my screen again. All right, so professional trades, though welding is included in professional trades, we have specialties throughout the college. So I just threw some pictures together of some of the things you might do in other trades. And then the same thing with our, I won't read it to you, but our kind of average in Michigan, the average salary, the hourly pay. I like to include hourly pay because there's a change in career development, and a lot of times students can understand an hourly pay better than they can a salary. But if you look at the annual job openings, now 10,000 plus, that's manufacturing as a whole, but there are an amazing number of jobs available right now. Michigan at this point has and actually they've been doing it for a little while, a real push to try to keep the jobs in Michigan because we have so many employers who can't get the people that they need. So definitely there is work available when you're done with your training. So you can see some of the jobs that we train for here at MCC. Oops, sorry, I went to welders, but let's go to trades. Now there are some crossover in some of the things they do, but if you look at this, there are a lot of different skills that you need in the trades careers that cross over from one to the other, whether it's blueprints or being able to present a finished product, that sort of thing. There are a lot of things that are available, but you notice one of the things that many of these have in common is that it's hands-on and on your feet. Not all trades jobs are, but many, many are. So what I'd like to do, I'm going to go back up to that other slide. Our two instructors that we have with us are Deb Dothan-Gunster and Bill Small. Bill, I'm going to ask you, it's 12:09 right now. Would you like to go now or would you want to go after Deb?
No, I should probably go now
Okay.
because I'm about to have company. So I
Okay,
apologize
all right.
to everybody. I'll do my part, but then I'll get out of the way.
All right. Yeah, I didn't know if it was going to be a blurb and then done as far as the company. Okay, so we are good to go. I will stop sharing my screen and turn it back over to you. It'll take me just a moment. All right, I think you should be good.
Okay, well, good morning or good afternoon, I should say. It's a beautiful day outside, and we are talking about a very cool program that we've put together at Montcalm Community College. As you heard from Peter, he's been welding for over 20 years now. I started out in the design engineering field back in 1985, so I'm even older than he is. And I have been involved in every aspect of the design and manufacturing of things from refrigerators to chairs to all kinds of crazy things. Supports, keyboard supports for the old computer days and computer desks. So what we do at Montcalm Community College is try to get you ready for pretty much any part of manufacturing, and then allow you to specialize in the areas that you find fun and exciting, quite honestly. I've always found that the design of product and the choice of materials and processes to make it not only deal with the way products look and the way they function, but also what they cost and how easy or how hard they are to make. So my specialty is everybody's favorite, the math side, and then getting into the quality as well as the blueprint reading. I've started into the teaching CAD, because I have actually probably drawn on 6 different CAD systems in my life. And I've also teaching robotics, so I teach in the FANUC and the KUKA area. But again, my passion is, how do we get you ready to understand that manufacturing world and really enjoy it? Because there's so many good jobs out there, and most of the ones we teach you, if you don't want to get dirty, you don't have to. But some people like to, and you can get dirty as well. So it's really your choice. But we have a skilled trades program for, so you want to learn computer numeric controlled machining, whether it's milling or turning. We have maintenance. So everybody needs their equipment fixed. And people who like to work on engines and cars and things like that really find it fascinating to then transfer that into the maintenance of the manufacturing world. And we've just received a grant that now we're putting together a program for robotics maintenance. So we're tearing apart servos and motors and trying to figure out exactly how to fix the robots, not just program them. So that's kind of cool as well. And then we have tool and die design and actually build. So people can get into the CAD world and understand how that whole transfer now works between designing 3D models, transferring them into tooling paths that then tools can be built, so they can be stamped, they can be molded, they can be pressed, just about anything that happens out in that manufacturing world. So we're very, very lucky to have a team that we have, to have a foundation that allows us to buy the kind of equipment to make us very progressive in the college world. And so we really, really thank you for coming and hope that you take advantage of it. Because we're here because we like to be here. And so we enjoy teaching you. So, any questions? So, I want to introduce you to the team. You want to see them?
You can say hi to them.
I want to let you know we get twins. We're godparents every 4 weeks, and they just walk in. And this is my bug. Can you say hi to everybody? She's going to be a mechanic someday. Yeah, she likes to take things apart and put things together. So she's our future. And then Will, who's hiding because he's shy, because he's going to be a mathematician. Right? Right. See, bye-bye. Sorry about that.
Hey,
So
I'm just going to
anybody have any
pipe.
questions? I'm sorry.
Bill, you just said something that warms my heart. The fact about likes to take things apart and put them back together. That right there, when I'm working with students, I try so hard to get them to go back to what to do when you were little, because that really does feed into satisfaction later on, because those things are innate to us. There are some people who absolutely like have no interest in taking things apart or putting them back together. They get frustrated with that. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because those are the things you look for when you're working with students. Like, what did you like to do? So sorry about my little sidebar.
Yeah, my parents were always a little upset with me because I was taking things apart. So this is Will. Can you wave? He's going to be my. I'm shy. Yeah. Yep. This is what school is right now.
Is that your son?
So, all right, I'll let you down. He doesn't talk a lot.
Not yet. Yeah.
So I guess let me maybe put a couple question and answers out there. We do not teach pencil drawing anymore, although we still focus on being able to sketch and things like that. But CAD and the integration between CAD and machining, and now that we have a welder that we can start programming, we can start using product that then you can offset to actually set your welding tip space. And Peter's better at that than I am, but it all feeds together now. That's why it's so exciting. And then Deb, who's been in industry not as long as I have, because she's a lot younger than I am, but I'll hand it over to her.
Perfect, thank you. So Bill and I are both in the industrial trades area. Peter's focused on welding, and then Bill and I cover pretty much the rest of the trades that Amy showed you. My name is Debbie Dawson-Gunther, and I'm a faculty. My official title is Automation and Advanced Industrial Technology. So we have a wide variety of skills that we try to make sure that you know as you come through our programs. So I'm an electrical engineer, and I worked in industry for 20 plus years. Okay. So we've had a lot of industrial experience. And then I've been in education now for a while. I worked at a couple different community colleges. I worked at Western, and I love Montcalm. This is one of my very favorite places that I've ever worked. I love working with the students. There's we help you find real jobs, and that's what we're here for. We're here to help you find what you're passionate about, what you want to have your career turn into. You talk about, I know you guys have talked about, what did you do when you were younger? My dad was an electrician, and I was the oldest kid. So it was like, here, go do this, hold the flashlight, here, go, you know, take this receptacle apart. But I'd be careful, those that, you know, always sent up the flags to say, all right, I better know what I'm doing with this one. So I was a taker-aparter, if you will. But I also loved math, which is why I ended up in the engineering field, in electrical in particular, because we do a lot with math. It's not to say that you have to, you know, totally love math as much as some of us do. Bill and I enjoy math. But you do need to have that foundation piece, that golden ticket. Get that first piece in there and have that. The wonderful thing that I love about the program is Bill teaches math in an applied manner. So it's not just solving equations on the blackboard or the whiteboard now. It's truly trying to find, how does this apply to what I'm doing? So that's what we try to do in our field. If I may, I pulled some stock photos because I think they're kind of cool. I'm going to share my screen here. And the first one is a problem that we have is overcoming the stigma of what manufacturing is. So I have the red box, so you should be able to see this now. And this is an old manufacturing plant, okay? A lot of people still consider that manufacturing looks like this, and it doesn't. It is so different today. It's not as dirty. We can get dirty if we want to, depending on the field, but a lot of the manufacturing actually looks like this. So we talked about the robots that we're learning how to program. We're learning how to take apart, put back together, to service, and to run. So this is what the factory kind of looks like now. Very, very different than the old days. I also worked, when I worked at Eastman Kodak, I had manufacturing in a clean room, okay? Because the product that we were building could not have any dust or dirt on it. So we all had to wear the suits that were in there. We had to get suited up. You had to go through an airlock to get into that manufacturing area. And everything that we built was in this clean room. So there's a lot of different kinds of manufacturing that you don't really think of if you still have that old view of what manufacturing looked like in the past. One of the things that we do is you saw in Emily, I love the video that you had at the very beginning. And in our PLC room, you got a chance to see some of the robots. You got to see the backs of some of our trainers. But when we're doing our work, this is what we're training you to do. We have some simulators on the left-hand side, but that diagram in the middle that has, it looks like a ladder, and it's called a ladder diagram. That's how we're programming our PLCs, our programmable logical controllers. And this is what's going to drive those production lines. So you might have a conveyor system that's taking product down. So those robots that we saw in the last picture can do some work on it. So this is what we're training you to do as you come into class. I just cut this one out. This is a skill that we have. As you all know, our world has changed significantly. So we have the trainer that's shown on the right-hand side, kind of that blue box, if you will. That is a picture of our trainer that's in our lab right now. What we have is a simulator, so that instead of getting wires off of our desk or our lab station and connecting all these devices, we can actually connect them virtually. So we have simulators that exactly replicate what you would do in the lab. So sometimes it takes a little bit of a different skill to figure out how to connect those wires virtually as you're doing them on the computer compared to plugging them in physically in the lab. But you get the idea, and you get a chance to do the work that you need to do without having to go in person, because as you know, our worlds have definitely changed. So those were my pictures that I pulled. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I think that one of the things we talked about math, I think that's an important piece. But the other thing is, if you're not sure, we've talked about several different careers here. We cover a lot of different ones, but we have summer camps. I would encourage you to check out all of the different types of camps that we have. Last summer was a little different. We couldn't run them. We'll see what this summer holds, but that does give you a chance to try out different things, and you're only committed for a day or maybe two. So it's not like you have, oh, I'm so sorry, my dog is barking. Oh, of course he does that. Usually when I'm in class, I can lock him in the other room, but yeah, sorry about that. So Bill, you have visitors coming in. I have a barking dog, so that's our world today. But those summer camps, they really do give you an opportunity to find out different things and see if you're interested in it, see if you like the hands-on, see if you like the programming, see if you like to have any of those types of career activities that you would turn into a career. So that's kind of my spiel, if you will. And if you have questions, I would love to answer them. Otherwise, I'm going to shut my mic off and keep the dog from barking or having him show up in the background.
This is Amy. I just want to put a plug for those summer camps. Sometimes high school students, when they hear camp, think, oh, that's not for me. These summer camps absolutely positively include high school students. So don't be discouraged by the fact that it says summer camp. You'll do some good stuff and get some great experience.
All right, my husband saved me from the barking dog. I would also add that we have some certifications that we have. Pete mentioned it as you were talking about welding and what do you get from an associate's degree. In fact, that last slide that I showed you is something that the welders have to do. So they get a chance to see what else is out there, so that instead of just welding something, if they have to fix it or see what's going on with it, they would know a little bit more about that. But we get the certifications in welding. I've also joined an organization where we're working with industry to put together industry certifications. And it's the Smart Alliance, Smart Automation Certification Alliance. And taking our program, the automation program, students can end up with about 14 different certifications. It's like stackable. That will show employers what they know. So they can walk in the door and say, I know these things. And so we're continuing to work with them. We have another session at the beginning of December to get more information from industry. So we're really working with the employers in our area to make sure that when they leave us, that they have the skills that employers are looking for. Sorry.
Thanks so much,
Maybe
Debbie.
I could add one more thing for us because we are teaching after we've spent quite a bit of time in industry. We really do enjoy having people who do know what they're doing come in to take the classes as well and learn more, because you do learn so much more when you are teaching and learning and sharing with your fellow students. So, and we will be back in class eventually and doing all that. So we hope everybody really thinks about what you want to do when you grow up. I turned 60 this year, and I'm not sure I plan on growing up, but, you know, I'm still thinking about it.
This is Amy again. Could you briefly explain the idea of the open lab concept and what that would mean for a student?
I can take that one if you like. So my classes are set up so that I have, it's a 3 or a 4 credit hour class. And I have a lecture time where we talk about the concepts. We give the students a chance to interact with each other. But the majority of the time that they have is in an open lab system so that they have to, it's not quite open because they do, especially now, have to sign up for their time. That time is theirs for the entire semester. We're flexible though. If there's openings at other times, they can come in and do the work whenever they need to. Some students might sign up for a 3-hour block and they're finished in an hour and a half. Others might sign up for that 3-hour block and they need to come back and do some more work. So the open lab will accommodate both types of students. So what your learning style is, there might be some concepts that are just so easy for you, you fly through them, and others that you have to think about a little bit and really work on. So that's what our open lab will allow students to do. So it's open, but it's not like a free-for-all. You can't come in anytime that you want. We do have times assigned for you. Pete, your open lab in welding, do you still have the open lab set up?
We've actually gotten rid of open lab because we have it scheduled right into our class times now. So if you come to welding, Right now, all our lectures are available online. So you'll watch a lecture online, and then you will come into the lab and have 5 hours to actually apply welding. So it works out pretty good for welding.
Thank you, all of our instructors for presenting and answering questions. If there are more questions, feel free to type them in the chat box. We're going to shift over to Amy, who's going to show us just a little bit about a tool that we do have on our Montcalm website, and I'll go ahead and share that in the chat box. It's right on our homepage. It's called Explore, and it just allows you to kind of explore the programs that we have here based on your interests. So Amy, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, hopefully you're seeing my screen. I'm just at I'll go to our opening page at montcalm.edu. And if you scroll down, you're going to see this green bar here. This program is called Explore, and it lets you explore your options. So what's nice about this is you can put in, let's say you put in welding. And then it's going to bring up, oh, it might help if I spell welding, sorry. It'll bring up our welding programs. Now, what's nice about this is that it'll let you compare programs. So let's say you want to compare the certificate to the associate's degree. You would just hit compare, and then on the bottom, it's kind of hidden, but down here on the bottom in the center, you'll see this button that says compare now. This gives you a snapshot of each program. So it shows you in the green bar what the program is, how many credits total. So you can see the associate's degree is 60 credits, over 20 courses, and the certificate is 30 and a half. Does not end up in associate's degree, just a certificate, and that's 11 courses. It'll give you a rough idea of the cost. And then there's actually also a link in each one of these if you want to see the full program description. If we go back, you can search just about anything in here. If we put in, sorry. Here we go. If you put in trades, it's going to bring up all of our skilled trades programs. And again, you can use that compare button to look at those things. Or if you know the name of the program, you can search that way as well. So it's just one of the tools to be able to help students explore options. Any questions on that Explore program? Unless there's something else you'd like me to cover, I'll turn it back to you.
I will ask if you can help answer our question in the chat box about summer camps. I have not, or any of our instructors as well, I've not been around for summer camps, so.
And what is the question?
Are summer camps free?
I was just looking up online to see if I
That's
could find a
something I
full
don't know.
description. And there is a charge. It's a very minimal charge. They're not expensive. They're just intended just to say, yes, I'm committed to sending my student to the summer camp. I know I couldn't find anything because everything says COVID. Sorry, we've had to cancel our summer camps. So I was looking for some old descriptions and I couldn't find them. But I know they're not expensive. They're very family friendly, very affordable. So yeah, I'm sorry I can't give you a better answer on that one, but that's all I can find.
Well, and I know like one I'm thinking of that I helped a student with a couple years ago, literally the cost for the camp was $25. It wasn't very much. And I also know from working at the middle school where we would send kids over, this was before I came to MCC, if I had students who financially couldn't even afford that $25, the college always came up with a way to get that admission to camp covered. So I'll throw that out there as well. It's nice for the adults helping students to know that because sometimes students don't always want to ask. But for my students out there, truly, if you can't afford even that $25 or whatever the camp fee is, even if it's more, let us know. We'll get you in. We have a lot of people that support the college that want to see you guys participate.
Thank you so much, Debbie and Amy. And also, just in addition to our Explorer tool, I'm going to include the direct link to the kind of the list of our advanced manufacturing programs. From those titles, you can click out and get a lot more information about the program itself, as well as program requirements, what classes you would be looking at. And the last thing that I just want to kind of mention is that if you are thinking about starting with us in the spring by chance, you still got plenty of time to get enrolled and get started. And if you are considering starting with us in the fall even, now is a good time to apply. Go ahead and, I mean, you can apply today. Enrollment is open for applying for the fall. Again, our scholarships open on January 1st, so keep those in mind as well. I am going to just include our page, kind of our guide to getting started at Montcalm Community College. Right in step 1 is our application to admissions. And then in addition to that, I'm going to include my information. Again, I'm the admissions representative and there to help answer any of those questions that you might have about getting started. And then if Amy, as our career advisor, if you want to share your information or any of our instructors as well, feel free to share that in the chat box.
This is Amy. What I put in the chat box is a link to the career services page. And on that link, you can actually schedule an appointment with me. You don't have to call the school or anything else. Just click on the schedule appointment link in there, and we can work on trying to figure out what it is that you want to do.
Thank you so much. Are there any final questions?
I don't think we have any more questions. Oh, I don't have any more questions. But thank you so much.
Please
for presenting.
come visit us. Sorry for my delay, but please come visit us this next spring and see what that virtual tour looks like in person. And we would love to talk to you and answer any of your questions.
All right, well, again, thank you everyone for joining us. I am going to play that video one more time here at the end. It might not have gotten into the recording, so I will be playing that again. But otherwise, thank you all so much for joining us. Let me try that one more time.
It does not want to play nice. All right, thank you again, everyone.